Good afternoon, students. Today, our third session of Unit 1, that is, we starts from the .NET Common Language Runtime and Class Library. Already we study more about Common Language Runtime, Class Library, etc. etc. Here we study mainly focused on .NET Common Language Runtime and Class Library. In .NET, the Common Language Runtime will control the whole execution of programs. The code, the program that runs in the Common Language Runtime is managed code. The Common Language Runtime enables the programmers to write code that is interoperable across different languages. What are the different languages supported by .NET framework? Yeah, VB, C# and JavaScript. These are the language come under Microsoft.NET and many more programming languages which is supported outside of Microsoft. It was explained in the second day presentation. It provides features. What are the features? Automatic memory management. What is automatic memory management? It will free the memory and deallocate the memory. It will allocate its own memory, and after the task is over, it will deallocate automatically. That is, it frees the programmers from task of managing their own memory allocation and deallocation. The programmer don't bother about the memory allocation and memory deallocation. The CLR will automatically manage the memory. That is, what are the management? What are the memory management? Memory allocation and memory deallocation. The programmers won't do this task manually. The Common Language Runtime will automatically do this. Automatically do what are the things? Memory allocation and memory deallocation. Next, it provides self-describing objects. What is self-describing objects? That means making deployment and reuse earlier. Once the code was deployed, it will be reuse anywhere, anytime, in any application. That is the self-describing objects. Next, it will enable code to run on any CPU. That means which CPU? The CPU which have the implementation of Common Language Runtime. The CPU which has the Common Language Runtime will enable the code to run. Next, the .NET Framework Class Library is an extensive collection of data types and objects. Extensive collection of data types and objects. .NET Framework Class Library. Why there is a lot of data type and objects? Because .NET Framework support various programming languages. Each and every programming language has various types of data types. It may differ across each programming language. So, the .NET Framework Class Library has extensive collection of data types and objects. From that, the programmer will start their application development. It will be, the data types are categorized in certain way, such as input output, graphics, database access, etc. and other system level services. The next, the .NET Framework Class Library also supports objects like, what are the objects? Basic data types as well as more abstract data types. Students, you know about the abstract data types. We will study it in the C++, Java, RDBMS. Abstract data types. For example, our user interface controls are abstract data types. That is an object. Why the user interface controls are named as abstract types? Because we don't know anything in the back side, that is how the label box is designed, how the text box is designed, how the button is designed. We don't know, we need not any knowledge about how the label box will be designed, how the text box will be designed. We just click and drag it from the toolbox. We don't know the code behind the label box. Okay, next we move on to the managed component in .NET. Managed component. What is managed component? Managed component. It is an independent code that encapsulates a task or critical business rules and logic. Managed component means our program, our sum of two number program is also a managed component. Our arithmetic operation program is also a managed component, because our arithmetic operation program comprises of various functionalities such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are all the tasks done by the program arithmetic operations. For example, you are all design and calculator program in Visual Basic, is it? Students, have you remember? Yeah. It is also a managed components. What are the tasks going on our calculator program in Visual Basic? Yeah, there is arithmetic operation, then special operators, that sine, cos, these are the calculations gone there. So each and every program are named as managed component, that is independent code. That code should not be depend any other program, that is managed component. Here we are going to see an illustration example. It is nothing but just you imagine your online shopping, either through Flipkart or Amazon, Snapdeal, etc., etc. Just imagine. Just you go through that Amazon website. You are plan to purchase a mobile phone. What are the things you are going on there? Just you, if you are not a registered user, just first you register and create an account for you. After that, you check the product you are going to purchase. After that, you are satisfied that product, you may put an order. After that, after placing an order, there is a payment option. After that, you may deliver, you got that product within 2 or 3 days, etc., etc. So that is the managed component. Here our illustration, first a clerk fills out shipping information, billing information and order detail in a computerized form. On completion, the clerk sends the data to the server. That is, the administrator fill the products in the stock. Enter all the products in the stock database. After that only we will purchase. If there is no if there is an empty stock, what things we are going to purchase? There is nothing in the stock. So before the customer log into the website, the administrator must enter all the stock. The server receives the data, the system compares after that the client will order the detail and submit. The server receives the data, the system compares the order detail with a list of current product inventory. For example, if you are going to purchase Samsung mobile, it will check it in the inventory. If all the systems, if all the items requested are in stock, if the system logs the order to a database showing that the order was received and is pending. If the requested product is in the stock, the database allows the client to fill the form at that time. If the stock has not the required product, the database shows that the order was received and is pending. If any items requested are out of stock, the system informs the customer that the order can't be fully filled at that time. If there is a required product in the stock, the system then calculates total cost and shipping charges and sends the order to the company's distribution warehouse via email. The customer's credit card information is sent for processing. If credit is approved, it may be either credit card, debit card, or cash on delivery, anything. But in our example, we show it is a credit card payment. If credit is approved, the system informs the customer that the order is now being processed. The order email is received at the warehouse and the product needed is picked. Once the order is fulfilled, the system sends an email message to the customer that the order has been shipped. These are the things done by the managed component. Here, the component has information hiding. That is, the component in implementation is unavailable to the client. We don't know about what is going on Amazon while we purchasing product. There is also some certain amount of code processed beyond our machine. Okay, these are the example for managed component. Next, web services. What is web services? The service developed to automate our web-based application easily. Here, there are many more problems are there for making distributed applications due to lack of some standard protocols and the issues of how to deploy the applications and make the application services available to different clients. The web applications have traditionally had their data and services tied directly to HTML and web browsers. Web applications have traditionally had their own data and services tied directly to HTML and web browsers, because we write the code for web pages through HTML and execute it through web browser. The HTML and the web browser have their own data and services for developing web applications. For our next generation, that is our newly web-based application, the user must learn a whole new interface for each website or service they use. Here, our XML, that is Extensible Markup Language, will solve these are all the problems. What problems? To designing a our new generation web services web application. The common before .NET getting web services data to PDAs, cell phones and other internet enabled appliances proved very difficult or even impossible in some cases. To overcome these problems, that is, while executing web applications in PDA, cell phones and other internet enabled appliances, we go for XML web services. It helps to solve these all the problems while executing the applications in PDAs, cell phones, etc. To attack the communication dilemma, that is, there is in our old version, there is some problems while communicating data between the client and the server due to some lack of protocols. Here we are using XML web services. The web service relies on using HTTP as the network transport. Which protocol is used for network transport in XML web services? HTTP. Next, web services also uses the XML to facilitate the formatting of requests and responses for web services. Students, do you know one thing? XML is a database also for web-based application. Next, these features, that is the XML features, allow many different applications and devices to act as consumers of data from the web service without having to navigate a user interface to extract data. That is, the user don't go anywhere to extract data, but with the help of the XML, it provides a features to consume data from the web service without go anywhere, any user interface. Okay, web service XML helps to develop web services for our later web applications. Next, we move on to language independence in the .NET framework. Language independence. In our introduction class itself, I explained about the various programming languages supported by .NET framework. So there is no need for dependency. Here, we briefly going to see about the language independence in the .NET framework. One great advantage of the .NET framework platform is the ability to use any language to write applications. We already know this. Next, the component object model, COM stands for component object model, already allows reuse of COM components in any COM aware language and allows for COM components to be written in languages such as Visual Basic and C++. That is, for example, in our inheritance program, we will reuse the code from base class. Likewise, the COM components, there is a lot of managed components in the pool. We will use it for our application, our own application. With COM, interoperability is possible only when the components adhere to a binary standard for interaction. There is an interoperability between various programming languages. In team environments, developers can be free to use whatever language they choose to develop objects. I already explained, in a team, the programmers have the skill on various programming languages. For example, a team consists of 10 members, person 1, person 2, person 3 up to person 10. The person 1 is well versed in Visual Basic, person 2 is well versed in C++, person 3 is well versed in JavaScript. They may develop program with the help of their own skill. After that, the CLR will execute it. That is, in team environment, developers can be free to use whatever language they choose to develop objects. Okay, students. Next, we move on to COM plus component services and .NET. First, what are the things that provided by the complex component services? What are the services provided? Transaction processing. That means transaction processing means transacting data back and forth between the client and the server. Next, object pooling. In the previous slide, we see about the components which are reused, components which are stored already and which will be reused for our own application, that is object pooling. Next, queued components. Queued components. Our components are waiting for servicing and other features. Here, COM+ provide a runtime environment for components. Within this runtime environment, the developer can do several things. Here we are going to see about what are the things done by the developer for runtime environment for components. First, the manage automatic transaction. Students, we know the transaction, what are the things going on transaction in our last semester RDBMS paper. I think you are all know about the commit and rollback transaction. What is commit? What is rollback? Commit. Commit means come into conclusion. Rollback means there will be change in a transaction. That will be done automatically in our COM+ runtime environment. That is, the developer can commit or rollback changes made to data in an automatic fashion when certain events happen in program code. That rollback or commit are done based on the events happen in program code. That means if we submit, while we are submitting a form, it will ask, are you sure? If we click yes, it will be committed. That is permanently stored in the database. Before we submitting, there will be changes may take place anytime. That is rollback. That is edit option in the interface. Edit option will change the database content, and the update option will save it permanently, or save option or submit option will save it permanently to the database. Next, use declarative role based security. Role based security, it is also studied, you also studied it in RDBMS. Role based means owner, that is reader, that is privileges given to the user. That is, what are the privileges? Read permission, write permission, append permission, read, write and append permission. Who are eligible for read, write and append permission? The owner. Okay. Who is eligible for just read only permission? The end user. These are the role based security. The developer can assign execute permission to certain components based on logical groups to which the active user has been assigned. Next, make components use of object pooling. Object pooling. What is object pool? Pool means collection. The developer can pre-create object instances and keep them in a pool awaiting use by a client program. That means we can create many more objects and store it in a pool. After that, the client may call the object from the object pool anytime. Next, create queued components. Queued components means the services or the components are waiting in the queue for acquiring. The developer can immediately execute components over a live network connection or provide delayed execution of components for disconnected situation. If there is a live network connection, the components are executed automatically one by one. If there is disconnected situation, all the executed components are wait until there is a live network connection. If there is a disconnected situation, all the executed components are waited in the queue. Okay, students. Next, we move on to directions and plans for .NET. This is the last topic in this first chapter. With the availability of fast internet connection and devices like the cell phones and PDAs, Microsoft plans to deliver on the promise of user-centered computing experiences. Before that is using using various devices such as cell phones and PDAs, we just use internet in the computer itself. While it is moving to cell phones or PDAs, there is some need for web services. So Microsoft plans to deliver a best software applications which is available anytime, any place or any devices. For that, the Microsoft developed a web service called .NET My Services. It is also referred to as digital safe deposit box for the user. That is, it contains many more features inside the .NET My Services. Now we are going to see the features of .NET My Services. First, it contains .NET Profile, next .NET Contacts, .NET Location, .NET Alerts, just like our mobile phone application. .NET Profile, for example, if we take if a mobile consists of the profile of its owner, the contacts of its owner, the location, alerts, etc. etc. Likewise, the .NET My Services consist of the features. What are the features? .NET Profile, .NET Contacts, .NET Locations, .NET Alerts, .NET Presence, .NET Inbox, .NET Calendar, .NET Documents, .NET Application Settings, .NET Favorite Websites, .NET Wallet, .NET Devices, .NET Services, .NET List, .NET Categories. These are the features comprised inside the .NET My Services. Okay students, here we conclude this chapter 1. I think you are all preparing the syllabus I complete up to the last class. Today we completed our first chapter of unit 1. So students, keep studying. If you have doubt, just ask me through my YouTube channel or WhatsApp group or through our Google Classroom. Student, please provide your attendance in time. I will not record the late attendance. I will record only the attendance and in that time. In that particular time, attendance will be recorded. Late submission will not be recorded. So students, please carefully. Okay students, thank you.